Hey, how's it going? This is Dan here from modular.dev. We're going to continue on with our Blazor application that we were working on last time. If you didn't see the videos, go ahead and check those out. Otherwise, I'll give you a quick overview of where we left off. So we have this this chat application in which you can go to multiple different rooms. And if you're in one of those rooms, you can send a message to somebody else in that room. So for example, I've got this this tab here is in room 1, and I'm in room 1, and I can send them a message. And maybe I'm Tom, and I'm going to send them hello. So now this tab over here can see that. So that's where we are right now. If you go to a different room, maybe room 4, and this person's also in room 4, you can send them a message to this room. And if you're not in that room, you won't see the message at all. So that's where we left off. If you have any questions throughout this video, either during the video or after, go ahead and let me know. But this time, I think what we want to do is, I did notice a bug actually after I finished the last video, in which if you went to the room twice, because I was already in room 1, and if I send another message, I'm actually getting the message twice, and that's because I'm actually creating 2 separate connections for room 1, and the server processes it for both. So that's not what we want. So we'll fix that. And also, in this video, I wanted to create user accounts, not in the sense that they can create usernames and passwords. I think that's out of scope for what we want to do. But probably just from the home screen, maybe just let them tell you what their user is, like what their name is, and then what rooms they want to subscribe to, and then they can go back and forth to those rooms. And we would show the rooms that they are subscribed to on the navigation bar. Alright, so let's go ahead and try that out. I think the first thing I want to do is create that application state object, because otherwise, there's no way for us to track what user we are and what rooms we are subscribed to. So in the Blazor WebAssembly project here, I'm going to create a new class called AppState. And in that class, I'm going to have a string for the user ID, or not user ID, but username. And I'm going to have a list of strings for the rooms that they are subscribed to. And that way, these things will be stored at the application level, and we will just kind of query them from our different components. So if you recall, we have 2 components right now. Well, we have a couple, but we're only really using 2. We're using the index component, which is our home page, and we're using this room component, which is all of the data for our room. So actually, I'm just going to get rid of these other 2 just to declutter things a little bit. And this survey prompt, I'm not sure what that is, if we are using that anywhere or not. Let's just check in here. Okay, we're using it. I guess we're using it here, so I'll just leave that for now. But let's go ahead and inject this application state into our project. So in order to do that, we need to, if you remember last time, what we did was we created this, on the server we had an application state. We called it previous chat archive, and we kind of added that as a singleton that we could then go through in the chat hub and the chat controller to pull the information from that. We're going to do a similar thing in the client on WebAssembly. So in WebAssembly, that's added in program.cs. So I'm just going to copy what I had on the previous one, and we'll make a couple adjustments. So we have builder.services. So I'll do builder.services.add singleton, and we'll make it app state, because that's the new class that we just made. That's the one with the username and the rooms. So now we're going to be adding that to our project here. Add singleton usually means one instance per application. However, this application is downloaded and used by each individual user, so it doesn't really matter. We can use add singleton, add scoped, whatever. Either way, it's all going to go to just this person, because that's just how WebAssembly is going to work in this case. So the next thing we want to do is inject this app state into our views. And I think the best way we're going to do that is in this imports.razor. This is where any common code that you want to inject or use namespaces, things like that, it's going to go in here. So if I just do inject app state and then I have to give it a name, I'll just call it app state again. And now we can use this variable anywhere that we want. So for example, in the index.razor, I should have access to the app state. So if I create a form, let's say, and I'll just make that an edit form for now, I suppose. This is a Blazor specific form, and we'll make it input text box, and we'll put the value equal to appstate.username. So basically, if we change that username, we will automatically update the app state. Now, I do want to point out that this value is, right now, it's a one-way value. So after we set it, there's no way to, if we change it, to get that change. And so how we do that is we need to do bind value, and that's two-way binding. So now if we change this text box, we're going to get that value updated into this property. Also, we do need to specify a model for the edit form. I'm not exactly sure why that's a requirement, but it is. So I'm just going to put app state as the model there. And the other thing I want to do is I'm going to create a code block here to listen for a form submit. And when the form submits, then we're going to update the app state data. Actually, you know what? Probably we shouldn't. I'm trying to think. If they don't submit the form, we probably don't want that username to override the previous one. So we're actually going to create a copy, I think, of this app state username. So I'm going to create a new app state. And actually, no, I'm going to put that as a property. Well, no, that's fine. So we have app state equals new app state, and we're going to protected override on initialized. We're going to set app state equal to, or app state dot username equal to the global app state dot username. And if you're familiar with C#, you'll know why I can't just do app state equals app state, because everything's getting passed by reference, and if I make a change to one, it will change the other, so I can't quite do that. And I'm just going to do app state dot rooms dot add range app state dot rooms. That way, if they have any rooms added, it will get added here too. And now, instead of binding these, I'm going to bind it here, because when the form submits, that's when I'm going to change the global app state. I don't want to change it if they don't submit the form. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's create a function that we can call when the form submits. Private void form submit, and we'll just set the global app state dot username equal to the the local one, and we'll set the rooms equal to a new list, and then we'll just add all of the rooms that we have in our current local app state. Okay, and that should work. Now we just have to call this form submit. So I believe it's on form, or let's see, what is it? On submit. We'll just call form submit. And we need a submit button here. We'll make it a button. So I think to test this, the easiest way is going to be go to the room and check the app state there, because that's on a different page than the home page. So let's just maybe write out here at the top, just to test it, appstate.username. Okay, hopefully I've done that all correctly. Let's give it a shot. Okay, we got a couple errors. Looks like IIS Express is having some problems. Let me just close that down. And hopefully this will restart it. Okay, cool. So we didn't put any label on here, but this field was our username. So we'll say Bob, and I'll submit that. And now if we come to room 1, it did remember that. So we can pass that user onto each room, which is what we want. Probably we should make a little bit this user interface a little bit better. So let's go ahead and do that. That's in the index.razor. I'm not going to get too much into the CSS. I'm just going to put some line breaks here, and then we'll put another input text here, and we're going to bind this equal to I want to bind it to rooms, but rooms is a list of strings. So I guess what I'm going to do is just create another property here, rooms comma separated, or something like that. And what I want to do is basically somebody can comma separate the rooms that they want to belong to, and then we'll figure that out as far as what rooms that actually is. So let's go ahead and bind this to appstate.rooms comma separated, and we'll put a couple labels on here. So the first label, I'm just going to say rooms, and up here we'll say username. And again, I'm not looking to do anything too fancy with CSS. I just want it to work in this case. So let's run this and see what this looks like. Okay, we have a username and our rooms, and we can submit the form. Let's also put a little bit of a thing down here to basically show that we submitted the form correctly. So I'm going to just set up a local variable, form text, I guess that's what I'll call it, and we'll just set form text equal to form submitted successfully. Alright, and then we'll just put that in here. Now I'll just refresh this. Okay, so I'll put in my name, and I'm going to want room 1, room 2. All right. So that form submission is working. We are able to see our username up here, so that's good. That's what we want. Now, when we submit the form, we are passing in a comma-separated list of rooms. And what we should then do is basically split that string on commas and add each of those items to the list of rooms. So let's go ahead and set up a variable here. I'll just call it split array equals appstate.rooms comma separated dot split on comma. Okay, and then I also want to remove any spaces because that could easily happen. So I think what here we're going to do is we're going to add, instead of adding range appstate.rooms, now we're going to do split array. And for each of these, we want to trim it, so we don't want any white space. So I'm going to use a link query here, and that would be the select link query, and that just takes a lambda, and I'll do n.trim. So if we did that correctly, we have a let's see what's going on here. I have some issue or something. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe it's just, maybe IntelliSense is just being a little strange. Let's try running this. Yeah, it seems like it compiled successfully, so I'm not sure why. Maybe because appstate thinks it's a type instead of the name of the variable. But anyways, that should be fine. So we have our list of rooms now, and we're adding those here. So what I want to do now is I want to change the navigation to only show the rooms that you are subscribed to. So I'm going to just get rid of these, and we're going to put a for each here. And inside that for each, I want to do var room in appstate.rooms. So for each room that they have subscribed to, we're going to basically show that link here. And we're going to replace each of those with the variable room so that we can set up a link that goes there. So this is not going to work right now, but I'll show you why. So let's run it. So I'm Bob, and I want room 1 and room 2. And it says forms is submitted successfully, but we haven't updated our navigation. And the reason for that is we don't, so Blazor is component based, as I've mentioned a few times, and we don't know, like, the navigation component doesn't know what's going on in other components by default. So by us changing the appstate.rooms from the home component here, the navigation menu doesn't know that. So basically what we need to do is we need to tell it to refresh, and we can do that by setting up a callback. So in appstate, I want to set up a action that they can call whenever it's been updated. So appstate updated, and basically whenever the appstate gets updated, the person doing the updating should call this action. And an action is just a function that we, or multiple functions that we are subscribed to. So in the navigation menu, so we need to subscribe to this. So let's add a protected override on initialized. Whoa. Okay. So for some reason Blazor does that whenever you're trying to override methods. I'm not sure if it's a tooling issue or what, but so we're going to do appstate updated plus equals state has changed. And state has changed is whoops, app state dot app state updated plus equals state has changed. State has changed basically says refresh this this component because something has changed. So we're subscribing to that change here. But now we actually have to call this app state updated. So in our home here in our index.razor, after we add these rooms to the app state, we're going to call app state dot app state updated dot invoke. I probably didn't need to do this, but I put a little question mark here in case it's null. That way we don't run into a null reference exception. But yeah, any functions that are subscribed to this will be invoked, and that includes our navigation menu. So that should work now. Let's give that another try. Okay, Bob, room 1, room 2, and look at that. We have both rooms over here that we can now go to. So that fixes the first problem that we had. Although I did just notice when we went back to the home page, the rooms were not filled out, and I think I know why. Because we're binding to the rooms comma separated, and that is not being updated. So we need to update that in the app state. Rooms comma separated equals app state dot rooms comma separated. Okay, now hopefully when we come back that'll be correct. So now we kind of have our person that we can create, and they can subscribe to these rooms, but we're not actually subscribing to the rooms yet because we're not setting up that SignalR connection. We're not really doing anything like that. So probably what we should do is copy a lot of this SignalR code out to the home page and listen for the messages out there. Probably not the home page. I'm probably the main layout page is probably where we'd want to do this, because we may not be on the home page at all times, so we can't assume that we are receiving subscriptions if we're not on that page. So when we're here and we do the form submit and we're submitting the rooms that we're subscribed to, we should also be in the navigation or in the main layout here. We should be setting up a hub connection to the SignalR. So let's go ahead and do that. I know that was kind of probably confusing, but hopefully as we go through it, you'll kind of see what I mean. So we're going to kind of copy at least this amount of code for now, and we'll see what happens with that. So in the main layout, let's go ahead and create a code block, and I'm just going to paste some of this stuff in. Yeah, that's fine. I also needed to grab the on parameter set async here, because this function will get called when we enter. Well, this will get called every time we update a parameter, which in this case we don't have parameters. It still would work, but I'm going to do on initialized async. I think that's more correct. So we're going to set up our hub connection and all of this inside here. Okay. We also want to create a hub connection variable. Let me see, where was that in that room? We don't need this anymore. So let's go ahead and bring that out here. And also we need to bring in some using statements here. Let me grab that from the room as well. So we need the SignalR client. Okay. And we need that navigation manager too. Let's grab that. Okay. So now we have the navigation manager here, and it's setting up a connection with the chat hub, and we're listening for the on message received, and we're gonna set up the ability to join rooms in just a little bit. So I don't think we want to set up a local variable called messages here. Let's worry about that in just a little bit. And I think some on-initialized async is not the correct word. Let's see what it is. On-initialized async, isn't that what I have? Oh, I misspelled it. I forgot the I. Okay. Cool. So now we need to know what rooms we are joined to. And in just this first case, I'm not going to really worry about somebody that leaves a room. That's going to get somewhat more complicated. We're only going to worry about joining a room at this point. I guess we could set up a leaves room thing, but for now, let's not worry about it. So in here, I'm going to set up a list of string, which is the joined rooms. Rooms joined equals new list of string. And we're going to add to that whenever we call the app state updated function here. So let's go ahead and subscribe to that just like we did in the navigation. And it's the same type of thing. We're going to do app state updated plus equals. But in this case, we're not going to do state has changed. We're going to create our own function. And in here, we're just going to join the rooms that have not been joined before. So this is going to be an async function. So let's go ahead and set that up. So we have app state.rooms, and we have it's a list of strings, right? We also have a list of strings rooms joined here too. So we're just going to do rooms joined dot add range, and we're going to do app state dot rooms. Eventually we're going to put in some logic to check and make sure that you haven't already joined that room, but good enough for now. So for each well, let's just do it now, I guess, while we're thinking about it. So var new rooms equals appstate.rooms.where rooms join. Well, we need this. So where is our lambda function in link? So we're going to do rooms joined. Whoa, rooms joined dot contains n, and that should say not contains. So if the rooms joined does not contain that already, we're going to add it to this new list that where gives us, which is new rooms here. So the new rooms, we'll add all of them here, and then for each room in new rooms, we're going to tell our hub connection to join that room. Okay. So what else do we need to do? Let's go back to the room and see what we need. So we probably should grab all of these things as well. Paste those in there. So basically we're going to be subscribing to, well, Actually, no, this is going to be the functionality that sends the message, isn't it? So we don't actually want that in here. We want that in the room itself. We don't want that in the main thing. So let's just put this back. So there's a couple ways to do this, but I think the way that makes the most sense is to pass the hub connection, this hub connection here, down as a cascading parameter. So in our main layout, we have, this is the layout that all of the views share, and they get rendered by this @body thing here. So index and room both use this same main layout, and they get rendered here. So what we can do is we can do a cascading value, and we're going to set the value equal to hub connection. And now any of the views that are using this can use this hub connection. And we could have done that probably with this app state thing too, but I guess I'm showing you a couple different ways to do it. This is how I would probably do it in this scenario. So from our room then, we can set up a property up here, parameter, a cascading parameter in this case, public's hub connection. All right, so from in here, we're going to replace this, and we're going to send a message from here. It's giving me an error, so that's probably because I don't have this using statement here in this room. So let me try that and see if that's going to fix that. Okay, it does. So now we can send messages from this hub. I think also I'm going to do, we have this is connected variable that we had before. So I think I can just, let's see, hub connection state dot connected. So whoops, hub connection dot hub connections connection state hub connection state dot connected. Okay, so we oh, so if it's not connected, this will be disabled, but it should be connected. In the event that the hub connection gets updated from the main layout, we may have to call a state has changed here, but I think we should probably be okay. Let's just try. Can we build right now? Is it going to let us? Room does not implement. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. We had iDisposable on there because it's going to dispose the hub connection. So I'm going to actually move that over to the main layout, which is a little odd, but that's okay. Let's see if that can compile. Okay, so I think we should be okay. The only thing that we have left to do is actually what happens when we receive a message. So now that we have basically what we did was we changed it from having each room having their own hub connection to having one global hub connection that can pass messages onto multiple rooms. But you have to be subscribed to those rooms, which is why we do this join room here, which gets executed every time the app state is updated. So what we're going to do is we're going to send a message on to the room that we are in. So let's see here. I think in this app state, I also want to keep track of what room we're in. So I can actually, because all of these components do get compiled to C#, I can actually keep a reference to the current room, the actual object itself here. So I'm going to say public room, current room, and now I can actually create a function in here that I can call from the main layout. So if I have a public void receive message function, we'll just say string message, I can send a message over to here. By doing this. So if I do app state dot current room dot receive message, encoded message, that should work. Now the problem is still, what happens if we receive a message from a different room? Obviously we don't want that message to be received by the current room, but let's just do this for now, and we'll go ahead and change that in just a little bit. So in the room.razor, we have a receive message thing here, and we're just going to add that to the messages list, and we also will have to do state has changed here, because this function actually got called by a component, a different component. Whoops, not encoded message, message. Let's give this a try. We'll just do one room for now and see if it works. I will be kind of shocked if it works the first time, but we'll see. So we are Bob and we are in room 1. Okay, so if that worked successfully, we should have subscribed to room 1. Now we can go in here and we can send a message. Let's open up another tab, and I'll just go back to the home page, and we have Tom, and he's also in room 1. So if we did everything correctly, these two people should be able to speak back and forth. So we actually can probably remove this user field, but we'll use it for now, and then the message would be test. Okay, and it looks like we did get an issue because I don't see anything coming through. So let's see if we have anything in the JavaScript console. Nothing in the JavaScript console. So let's see if we have anything in the chat hub. So I'm just going to put a breakpoint here on join room and send a message, and we'll try this again. There's got to be something that we missed. All right, room 1. So now he's in room 1, and let's see if we hit any breakpoints. Actually, you know what? We did not hit the join room breakpoint at all. So that must not be getting called. Let's see. Where did we go wrong? So in the nav, no. In the main layout, we should be sending a message join room here. New rooms. Maybe this is not quite right. Let's just try sending a breakpoint here. I'm going to turn WebAssembly debugging back on. I turned it off in the last episode because it does tend to slow some things down, but we'll give that a try. All right, so we have this over here. Let's go ahead and send a test message. So we did get in here. Let's see what happens when we step new rooms. We do have, this is kind of not great debugging, but let's just see what happens. Okay, looks like we have some kind of error. It's kind of hard to tell because the WebAssembly debugging isn't great. So let's actually turn that back off. I know they're doing some work on that, so we'll just turn that off. I'm just going to use the good old-fashioned console.writeLine here. And we'll just echo out the count. And also I want to echo out the count of the appstate.rooms. Make sure we are at least populating that correctly. All right. New rooms, I guess. And let's see, what is... Oh, this is an IEnumerable. Yeah, sure. Okay. So, and then we will echo those out, and then I'm just going to also write something out here so that if we do see this message, then we know something is wrong with our hub connection. Let's see what we get. So I'm going to open up the JavaScript console, and hopefully we should see some messages coming through. Okay, so I apparently forgot to do .count here. Okay, let's inspect this. Go back to the console. All right, so we do have a room, and then but none of them get passed along to the new room. So there's got to be something wrong in this. Where clause. Rooms joined contains. Well, I'm not quite sure. Let's just go ahead and do a good old-fashioned for each loop. Var room in appstate.rooms, and then we're going to do if rooms joined dot contains room. That should say not. Then we're going to rooms joined dot add room. Okay. And we'll do rooms joined here. And wait a second. That's not going to quite work. Okay, we're going to put that up here. Because we need to keep track of the ones that we just joined so that we can set up a hub connection to them. And then this is basically our list for next time to make sure we don't accidentally join it again. So we're going to check if we contain that room. If not, we're going to add it. This should work. So let's try it again, I guess. Alright, let's just check the console, make sure. Okay, so we got it this time. Not quite sure what happened. I'll have to take a look at that after the stream and see. Probably just something dumb that I didn't think of, but that's okay. What room did I make? I made a test room. Okay. So I should be able to send a message. And again, it looks like something's not working right. Let's go in, see if we are, let's debug this and see if we're hitting the breakpoints inside of our chat hub. Okay, we are joining the room, which is good. All right, and we're getting here. Okay. Let's see. Inside the room then. Well, I guess inside the main layout. So all of this is working now. Let's get rid of this. And I'm going to... Oh! We never set current room. We never did. So we need to set that. So inside the room.razor, we're going to on parameters set async. We'll do app state dot current room equals this, and this will be a reference to this room basically. Yeah, that makes sense. Otherwise, it's just gonna call nothing basically, because I'm assuming the default is null. Yep, the default is null, so it wasn't. It was probably erroring out, to be honest. Let's see, where were we? Main layout. This was probably erroring out. And actually, we don't need to call state has changed from inside here because the component that receives the message will call state has changed. Okay, let's try this hopefully only one more time. All right, cool. So let's make sure that we can still talk between two people. There we go. We still see the message. Let's try sending a message here. Great. So we still have some things to do. And I think probably the first thing I want to do is change this user back to, you don't need this user anymore because you have the logged in user. And then we do have some other things with notifications and not being able to receive certain messages in certain rooms. I think I'm probably going to save that for the next time. But for this one, I just want to finish up making it so that you don't have to pass in the user every time. So let's see. Here, we don't need this anymore. And on the send function inside each room, we can just put in the app state dot username. So let's try that. And we'll set up 2 tabs here. So in this one, we'll do Bob, and we are in room 1. And this one, I'll do Tom, and we are also in room 1. Okay. Test. Cool. Everything works. So the only other problems we have with this, well, let's just refresh here. So if we are in a different room, we don't see the previous messages, but we actually should. Oh, okay, no. I'm a little surprised we don't see that message coming in. Oh, yeah, because they didn't join that room. Duh. But if we also join, let's say we join room 1 and room 2. So now we have both rooms. If this person sends a message to test, it's going to come in here. But if we're in room 2, it's also going to come in here, I believe. Yeah, see, we got that message there. So if you're subscribed to the room, but you're not in that room, you're actually still getting the messages. And there's a pretty simple fix for that. So let's fix that real quick, and then we will be done for today. So when we receive a message, we need to know what room it goes to. So let's do room name here, and string here as well. And we're going to check to make sure the current room has that same room name. So if app state.current room, and it could be null, so let's just do that. Dot room name equals room name. Whoa. Then we'll actually receive the message. So in the else case, this will be for next time, we're going to show a notification by that room. So maybe a little like red circle with like a 1 next to it, so that they know that they have a new notification for that room. And when they go to that room, it will clear it out. So we'll do that next time. But in this case, we're just going to go into the controller here, or into the hub rather, and we're going to pass along this room name here. And this should fix the problem. Let's just double check and make sure it does. Let's get rid of both of these. Set up another one, and we'll have Bob in room 1 and room 2. And we'll have Tom in room 1 and room 2. And we'll have Tom in room 1 and Bob in room 1, and we'll send a test message. Alright, so they were able to receive that. That is correct. But now if Tom goes to room 2, he should not see this anymore. Let's just try sending another test message. Okay, he sees it. He does not. So that is correct. Let's see what's going on. There's got to be something in the room. Previous chats. Room name. Let's see. Off the top of my head, I'm not really sure. So I'm going to take a look at that for next time. And also we're going to work on the notifications, showing up notifications for them to say that there's new messages in other rooms that they are subscribed to, but that they are not currently in. So we'll handle that next time. And thank you for watching.